this afternoon, the National Hockey League issued a press release saying that Coach Schoenfeld was suspended beginning tonight for his actions involving a confrontation, verbal and otherwise, with referee Don Koharski following the Game 3 at the Meadowlands on Friday night.
Served the National Hockey League with a restraining order in response to the league suspension of our head coach, Jim Schoenfeld. Jim Schoenfeld will be behind the bench for tonight's game.
So to summarize, earlier this afternoon, the NHL announced a suspension beginning tonight, not telling anyone how long it would last, of head coach Jim Schoenfeld of the New Jersey Devils. But as subsequent action by the Devils organization, they have gone to court. They have gotten a judge to issue a restraining order against the National Hockey League. And so Schoenfeld will be behind the bench tonight, will be coaching the New Jersey Devils. To refresh your memory, though, on what is all the hubbub surrounding Jim Schoenfeld, let's turn back the clock a couple of nights ago. This was at the end of Game 3 on Friday night. Schoenfeld's team had been beaten by the Boston Bruins 6-1. He was upset at the officiating of Don Koharski. He blocks Koharski's way here, and later on followed him all the way to the locker room. Here is a segment of what was said between the two on Friday.
You're crazy. You're good because you fell, you fat pig. Have another donut. Have another donut.
Obviously, that Jim Schoenfeld would regret later on, but the bottom line now is that Jim Schoenfeld will be coaching because, as you heard on Road to the Cup just a moment ago, the New Jersey Devils have gotten a restraining order from a judge in the state of New Jersey, restraining the NHL, preventing the NHL from suspending Schoenfeld, and now the whole matter is up in the air.
The director of officiating for the National Hockey League came out to the benches and pulled the teams off because the officials have refused to come out on the ice because of the fact that Schoenfeld is behind the bench. They're objecting to the New Jersey Devils injunction against the National Hockey League.
Well, that's the New Jersey bench right there. Terry O'Reilly standing down in the corner as all this Boston Bruin team is coming up. There's Schoenfeld.
Now this
watch on the right of
your
That's right, right of your screen. You'll see McCauley come over.
John McCauley comes over and informs New Jersey Devils coach Jim Schoenfeld that the officials will not come out, and the teams return to the locker room. And now the problem for John McCauley and the league officials is what do they do with the on-ice officials tonight? Dave Newell is the referee. Gort Brossiker and Ray Scapanello are the linesmen.
And we may not have a hockey game. I'm telling you, this is unprecedented in the NHL. All the years I've been associated with it, playing and coaching and being a manager, and before that, I've never ever heard anything like this before in my life.
An incredible situation.
Never far from controversy, the former coach of the Boston Bruins, Don Cherry. And Grapes is with Matt Lauer right now in the Meadowlands. Matt?
He sure is, and of course, Don Cherry always has something to say about the NHL. You came here to see a hockey game tonight, didn't you?
Well, Matt, before on Hockey Night in Canada I went on, I said, I know they're livid in there. Now, the problem we've got here is Dave Newell. He's the president of the NHL Association, see? If it had been a rookie, we might have been all right. But I know when he was in there, he's the guy that's doing it right now. Could have been anybody else. I often wonder why they put him in there. And I'll tell you one thing, New Jersey's going to pay, and they're going to pay, and they're going to pay. You remember the time Tom Lysiak a couple of years ago tripped the linesman, and he got 20 games? Pulford told me, the GM told me, for 2 years they paid. And he'd go before every game, we're sorry, the guy's gone, please forgive us. New Jersey made a big mistake because they had a good rallying cry here. They were all right. You know, they could have said, let's win it for Shoney. Let's win it for Shoney, and they would have got them up. What they've done now, they've got the NHL against them. And another thing I'd like to say, and I just said it before, well, how come there's not an official down here? Why isn't Brian O'Neill down here, John Ziegler? You know this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was livid in there. As soon as I heard the injunction, I am not too proud of New Jersey letting it out at 7:35.
Apparently no one can find these guys, though.
I know, but 7:35, you know, you let it out. I mean, you know, that's kind of a dirty pool, I think, and they had no way of getting back at it at all. I don't like that at all, but I'm going to tell you something. New Jersey, for years to come, will pay about this.
How does it affect the players, though, something like this?
Well, I don't think it'll affect Boston. You know, Boston's sitting there. They're going to be all right. But I think they've got a very young team in there. I think it'll upset New Jersey. And Burke, the longer he sits, remember now, the young team like that, you get more nervous and more nervous. But there's one thing, Burke's never lost 2 in a row in the National Hockey League, and New Jersey's never lost 2 in a row, I think, since March 1st. So it's going to be very, very tough. I don't know if there's ever going to be a game. I tell you, I don't think Shoney's going to go behind it. I bet you Shoney doesn't go behind the bench.
As usual, guys upstairs, when you ask Don Cherry a question, no comment. Back up to you guys.
A couple of reports that we have gotten from downstairs. One is that the officials who were due to work tonight's game, Dave Newell, was the referee. Now this is a replacement official.
This fellow has refereed for us in when we did those charity hockey games.
Wow.
I remember his name.
Paul McInnes, I believe, is the name we've gotten from downstairs. The NHL officials have been spotted in street clothes and apparently will not work tonight's game. We have also been told that the game will start in about 6 minutes.
The players will respond and show more respect for these fellows than for the other officials. Only because they know, but if you lose your temper, there's going to be problems.
I don't know the last time that these officials worked a game. And of course, you're talking about a Stanley Cup playoff game. It's incredible to me that the league has gone ahead and put these 3 men on the ice to officiate this game.
What's this guy's name? Paul
Okay,
McInnes?
the referee is Paul McInnes, who usually works as a New Jersey Devils goal judge. His full-time job, he runs Murray's Rink in Yonkers, New York. And he has been asked to officiate a Stanley Cup playoff game in the conference finals. That's incredible.
I know with this fellow, I've seen him before too. He referees our rookie games at training camp when we have the rookie games, and he also referees inter-squad games for us. And he does a pretty good job in those games, but he does have regular linesmen with him that are regular guys. Now, I don't know whether these guys have done some games or not.
And now the crowd responding as the New Jersey Devils make their way onto the ice. 19,000 have waited well over an hour. The start of this game was exactly an hour ago, scheduled for an hour ago. And now the teams have taken the ice, and the cheers are for Jim Schoenfeld.
Well, obviously the fans are behind the decision. At this time, they are anyway.
As you said, Phil, the Devils management is going to the wall with Jim Schoenfeld.
Well, he brought them a long, long way.
A goal judge. He has worked ECAC games, preseason National Hockey League games. He is from Livingston, New Jersey. And here we go with Game 4 of the playoffs and no NHL officials. In Yonkers, New York.
Look at this way he dropped the puck. And boy, he wants to get out of the... I love that. Oh, that's funny. Let's look at an NHL official drops the puck. Watch him. Watch how fast he gets out of the way. See the difference?
3-on-1 Devils. Boycott with Peterson back. This is Maley. Maley brings it in. He shoots, hits the post. It goes in. They score. Bob Sweeney in center. Now it's Lensman. Side up. Lensman still has it. He shoots. Hit the goal. What a shot by Lensman. A rising shot. Kluzak is bumped. Crowder takes the puck. In moves for Bink. He shoots and scores. Kept in on the line by Bork. Moves in against Danico. Side of the net, McCarthy. Centers off the stick of Lindstrom.
What a save that was!
Danico sends it across. Battle in front. Sweeney involved with Wolanin. And the net has been knocked off.
But you know what happened?
Boycott and Lindstrom getting into it. Let's see what the linesmen, the amateur linesmen, do here.
When Loisel came in after it pushed Sweeney on top, Burke.
And these amateur officials keep control of the game here as tempers start to build up a little bit late in the first period.
Well,
Jim Sullivan, Vin Godleski are the linesmen. Cirella moves in, goes against Telvin, waits for help. Tries to find an open man. It's Kirk Muller. Centers for Shanahan. He's taken down by Telvin. The referee was screened on that as Byers and Cirella were battling, and now a whistle stops play, and it looks like Byers and Cirella will go off. Telvin took down Shanahan in front, but the referee didn't see it. He was screened by the two men battling. 2-0 New Jersey.
Let's take a look at it. Here comes Byers as he gives Cirella a tremendous elbow.
Bork
Puck is bouncing all over the place.
Bork was knocked down hard by Wolanin.
That's what I was just going to say. Game 1, in the first period, there were 34 total hits. Game 2, 46 total hits. Game 3, 32. And tonight, in the first period, only 24. So they're down 8 hits. And I think that was at the beginning when they didn't know how this guy was going to react.
As you saw, the yellow jerseys have been lifted off. And these amateur officials have gotten official striped jerseys underway. Second period. Hard hit by Neely, knocked down Brickley from behind. Sullivan has the puck, and another devil goes flying. It was Loisel, upended by Joyce. So the Bruins have come out a lot more physical here, and Loisel goes right back and dumps Joyce. Off the boards to Jenny. Belichick hits Burridge. Burridge goes down. Muller's got the puck. Good hit. Claude Loisel. He was hit
Watch
hard.
this. Now it might be a Charlie horse. Let's take a look. Okay, that's what it is.
And then game 3 was a physical game as well.
Oh, God.
Loisel went down.
McCarthy just slashed him. Watch this face-off. Watch Loisel knocking down the McCarthy stick. I want you to watch now. Watch this. Oh, right across the arm, and that hurts. Ooh.
Bruins forcing the play, some bumping, the puck deflected into the Bruins bench, and some pushing and shoving. Neely in for beat. And again, the test on the amateur officials being used, replacing NHL League officials who refuse to work. Should mention that we have asked NHL officials, John McCauley, the director of officiating for the NHL, to come on. We tried to get Dave Newell earlier, and they declined our invitation to come on.
Let's take a look at this. Watch Verbeek come from behind and hit Kluzak into the boards. Cam Neely came in later and talked to him.
Go on the Devils power play. 2-0, Devils leading it. That looked like it was offside. Sundstrom, I thought, was ahead of the play. And it's whistled. It was offside. Okay.
Where did the other guy go?
20 seconds to go. Oh, they're helping out. They're helping each other out. Bork moving it, but it skips off the glass and up into the crowd. Sticks up between Driver and Crowder. Wolanin steps in.
That was the linesman I just... Well, not now, but if they get into fisticuffs, I just let him go.
It was not Wolanin who stepped in. It was Kerber who stepped in. Excuse me. 8:15 to go in the second period as things settle down. No, maybe they won't settle down. Kluzak and Mealy set to go. A tough job for the amateur officials called on to officiate a tense Stanley Cup playoff game. Loisel all over Linsman, pounding him on the ice.
Oh, he's calling Linsman too, though. That's bad. Now Linsman's going to go back at him.
Loisel, he wanted to spear him.
Well, he's going to go back at him now because Loisel should have definitely got the extra penalty there. Linsman turtled, and he did it to draw the penalty.
Now the temperature rising. And can these amateur officials maintain control of the Stanley Cup playoff game?
And now there's Linsman and Loisel.
Of the Devils, Claude Loisel.
Now, They're pushing each other still. He's always got a hold of them. Now watch, he knocks him down. Punches him once. Another one.
Oh, man.
Another one. And then he gives him another shot right there. And he doesn't get any extra penalties now.
8 minutes to go in the second period of Game 4. Bruins leading 2 games to 1. Offside. Offside Boston. And sticks up for Beacon Kluzak in center ice.
See what the Devils are doing now. They're trying to take the Bruins out of their game. So now they should Miller, guys like Miller and Flint and Byers, they are the guys that should get into it.
Miller's going after Muller. Now everybody's in it. Muller wants to get at somebody. He wants to get at Jay Miller. Sweeney and Miller. Broughton. And Danico have gotten in front of the Boston bench. That's Wolanin in a wrestling match.
Byers hasn't taken off his gloves yet. Neither is Kluzak. And I don't understand why the official is taking
Kluzak has been escorted into the penalty box as the linesman goes back to try and help out. And now it just gets uglier and uglier.
This guy, personally, I think both teams are showing some restraint, except that, look at O'Reilly.
Goes O'Reilly, he wants Verbeek. And now another coach getting involved.
Jay Miller getting in there. Now 2 guys on Miller. Miller on, there's Byers and Wolanin are going at it now. O'Reilly's fighting with somebody.
Schoenfeld is on top of the bench. He's screaming at somebody. He's screaming at O'Reilly. They are friends.
They're holding back somebody.
These are friends yelling at one another. Can you believe this? And look at Bob Hoffmeyer. Oh, man. Bill, this is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. They would have been better off not playing this game.
I don't know what else to say.
Wolanin and Byers duke it out.
And they're going to go. And Byers is a good one, and Wolanin's a tough kid. And they're going to let him just go. God. I hope nobody gets hurt. God, I hope nobody gets hurt. Wow. Two guys are wrestling on the other side. I think that's Danico and Sweeney.
And Miller and Muller are there. And they
Bork pulls down.
Bork goes down.
And we don't want Bork in it. You don't want Muller in it.
And you're going to see maybe ejection from the game, some top players. This is awful. This is just awful. And I guess you could have anticipated this happening. These are amateur officials trying to officiate a Stanley Cup playoff game. This is an absolute disgrace. This game should not have been played, fans. It would have been better off not being played. 8 minutes to go in the second period.
And while that was going on, Sam, I was watching the Bruins bench. Somebody took a swipe at John Cunniff, the assistant coach, from the side of the box. I don't know who it was, but they were going crazy, and they tried to restrain him and did.
Oh, my.
You can see Talbot holding on to Terry O'Reilly.
O'Reilly wanted to get it for Beak, and then, as we emphasized, he and Schoenfeld are good friends. They were yelling at one another about who started what, and then it still goes in the penalty boxes. Wolanin, Verbeek yelling at Kluzak. That's Wolanin yelling across.
Oh, boy.
And that's the referee.
Now, John McCauley's got to get involved in this. Yeah, he's going to talk to McCauley.
He better. Could he have seen it all? Maybe. He's got to get more involved.
You know, I love this game a lot. I've been around it an awful lot. I get so upset sometimes with the way it's run that I can scream.
Bill, I feel for you as a player because you know what it's like who've been down there. I've watched this game for 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. I can truly say that I can't believe this is happening in the 4th game of the Stanley Cup semifinals. This is just unbelievable. Well, this is something, Phil, this is comparable to what you would see in a preseason game. Sweeney goes in. Jay Miller's already there.
This is the first time I ever saw this in my life, folks. In my life, that really, he's calling the game. If there's
From off
anything
the ice.
from off the ice.
But somebody has to. He's a league official of the National Hockey League. These men on the ice are not on-ice officials. They have worked as off-ice officials.
You're right. You're right, son.
But they are part-time employees. So let's go over things. Lyndon Byers, 5 minutes fighting, 10-minute misconduct. Gord Kluzak, 2 minutes roughing. Jay Miller, 2 minutes roughing. Bob Sweeney, 2 minutes roughing. Verbeek, 4 minutes for roughing. Broughton, 2 minutes for roughing. Danico, 2 minutes for roughing. Wolanin, 5 minutes fighting, 10-minute misconduct. All penalties at 12 minutes of the second period. And the Bruins will be on a power play when we come back.
I was just going to say, all this waiting.
Here comes Janney with Neely. Neely scores! Beautiful setup. Janney to Neely. Power play goal for Boston. And the lead is cut to 2-1. Good chance by Craig Janney. Neely takes the puck. Leads Kirk Muller. Onside. Muller comes in against Bourque. Drops it back for Neely. Neely tripped up. No call. No call. Wow. Janney to Wesley. And the fans get on these amateur officials who are from the New Jersey area. Cirella. Kelvin takes it away, moves in. Centers with Tom McCarthy, who's tied up and taken down. Battle goes on. Kelvin moves toward the net. He shoots, saved by Burke, and he's got it on the glove. And McCarthy wants a piece of somebody.
No, actually what happened, Marty. Burke pushed Blatt from behind. Because Blatt was standing right in the crease, and Burke pushed him. There'll be no penalties. You're right, he's got to take control, because Willie Platt's going over there and he's saying, I'm going to be back here. You touch me again, and I'm going to get you.
Platt threatening Burke, being shoved away. 5:22 to go, second period, and New Jersey leading 2-1.
As Telvin comes out, look at that. Hey, beautiful save. Platt's there. Now watch. We're supposed now watch Burke. Man, little shot, that's all.
But no call for that.
No. Watch this great play. That's a good play by Muller on Tom McCarthy. A good play on Tom McCarthy. Good back checking by Muller. Burke pushes in. It was before the save. Pushes everybody.
Burridge try to get in. Here's a chance for Casper. Saved by Burke. The rebound. Burke's got it.
I guess who was there? Willie Platt. He went right at Danico and he started talking, but he went right at Sean Burke to see if there was a rebound.
Muller and Casper. Casper wins to Bourque for the shot. Knocked away with a blocker. Penalty call. It looks like Joe Cirella for pulling down Willie Platt. Cirella gets called with 3:22 to go.
And Platt is still yapping at Burke.
Is Platt also? I think it may be both men. Platt's going off.
Platt, Burke, I guess.
Not Cirella. Cirella pulled down Platt, but Burke is going to get the call, I guess. The amateur officials have had their hands full. But the playoffs continue with the amateur officials on the ice. The Boston Bruins came back to cut the Devils' 2-goal lead to 1. And this will be a very tough, interesting third period coming up. McLean's got it. Looking around. Controlling. Fires it. Knocked down by Peterson. Centers for Turbers. He scores!
And a beautiful pass by Shanahan. And a snapper. Beautiful shot.
But they just gave Belichick the blast. Middleton sends it in. Knocked away from Jay Miller. Miller on the ice for the first time in a long time. Lindgren stops it for Miller. He's tied up. As Driver's holding his stick. Shot save made by Burke. Rebound up the side by Burke. Lindgren had a good chance. Who's that shot?
Look at it.
Save Burke. He's got it.
I tell you.
Sean Burke has stayed in the game. The tough guy, Jay Miller. He wants it. Somebody. Driver was holding his stick.
Well, you know, there was so much tackling going on in front of the net. So this is happening at both ends of the rink.
13-18 to go. Third period in New Jersey leading 3-1. Back to the live action. Keith Crowder battles with Danico. And Crowder hit hard.
Here's what I was talking about. Watch. Bam.
Remember Ali Afraidy going into the stanchion?
Sure do. Bam.
Madison Square Garden. Oh. Greg Janney sending it in. Belichick hit by Neely. Hard hit. Belichick goes down, tucks the puck, tried to tuck it underneath. It went into the crease and it was stopped by Sean Burke.
Cam Neely is one strong dude, and Belichick has got to be pretty strong to take this. Look at him.
Oh, man.
He is a strong guy.
My ribs hurt on that one. Casper centers all the way across. Bork knocked down for Beek. That shot in front. Burke looking at it, and it's shot over the top by Casper, who raises his arms, but that puck never got in the net, and the net was knocked off the magnets.
Wow. When you watch the replay of this, I think Danico knocked this net off. Great play by Ken Danico if he did. You take advantage of the fact that you feel that the referee's not gonna call anything. So let's take a look. There's Willie playing all by himself. But watch Danico, number 3. Watch. Another look at it. Watch Danico in there. And it hits the crossbar, and then Danico pushes it in.
Casper thought he had one. Terry O'Reilly looking on. O'Reilly trying to fire his guys up. I think he wants to know why the official didn't call something on Ken Danico. And now Paul McInnes has come over.
But they're all over talking to McCauley. McCauley should say, look, he's running the game and that's it.
I think he did. You're right. All the players, the Bruins players, are coming over to John McCauley.
They don't even go after McInnes.
What did he say, said Terry O'Reilly. While we have a moment, compliments. Certainly we've been talking about the disappointment over the fact that NHL officials have not worked this game and the problems that have arisen. But certainly Paul McInnes, Vin Godleski, and Jim Sullivan are to be commended for their efforts.
They sure are.
They have been thrust into an almost untenable situation, and they've performed to the best of their abilities. What? Tied up by Korn. They both go down. Puck taken by Muller. Muller hit by Burridge. Burridge has been very feisty. Korn moving in by himself, upended by Bork. And Fleck takes the puck. Whistle. There we go. Battle. Burridge and Muller. Well, I mentioned Burridge has been very feisty in this third period, and Muller wants to get something going. Ooh, a punch thrown by Burridge. And Muller throws one. Jim Schoenfeld looks on with 8:34 to go in the third period. The Devils leading 3-1. Here's how it happens.
Watch now, Muller and Burridge. Burridge keeps pushing him. Muller gives him a little elbow, tries to, and then Burridge nails him. Watch the punch though, right there.
Wesley for Janney. And a good hit by Belichick sent Janney flying. Checked by Danico. Boycott takes down Sweeney. in a game the Devils had to win. Good hit by Crowder on Curvers. And a good hit by Sweeney. Rough in the corner. Bork stops it. He shoots wide. What a shot. The New Jersey Devils have beaten the Bruins 3-1. Kluzak and Maley.
Well, that started. Maley went after Lindsman, Sam. I was watching it.
In a game that took 3 hours to play, got underway over an hour late. Burke is shoving Janney. Lindsman sticks up with Belichick. And maybe, I certainly hope it doesn't end more uglier than it was during parts of this game. Lindsman shoves Belichick. Belichick laughs at Lindsman. Healy steps in, and nobody wants to go with him. Will it end? Will these players leave the ice? McCauley waving. I guess it's a fitting ending, Phil, to a night that will be long remembered.
I think so. Terry O'Reilly's on the ice trying to get his players off. Tell them to get off.
The Devil fans have reason to cheer and be proud. Their team has evened the series. And now, Jim Schoenfeld, very satisfied, heads for the locker room.
And chose not to accept that decision. They created a perception of, in our mind, disrespect for officials, an invitation to public disorder, and, in our opinion, the circumstances that existed then would have made it inappropriate for the officials in that context to have undertaken to officiate that game.
Well, I don't believe it's one particular incident. I think the safety and security of the officials has been questioned by us in certain situations previously, and it has escalated to this point. There is a lot of concern as far as security and who can get at us, and certainly the disrespect for the official.
Joining us now from Toronto, former National Hockey League referee Bruce Hood, who during his time was one of the most well-respected referees in the league. I take you back to a situation several years ago in Toronto. The Philadelphia Flyers against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hockey Night in Canada had put microphones behind the bench, and I see you smiling, so I know you recall it, and they go to Bobby Clark, obvious abuse of an official. How much of this do you guys take, and where do you draw the line?
Well, John, let me go back about 20 years, because we formed an association 1969 because of abusive officials. Here we are, the wheels come around. Not a lot has changed. There's just far too much of it takes place.
Bruce, the fact that Dave Newell was the head, or is the head of the Officials Association, you think that had anything to do with the walkout? If there'd been a referee, say Bill McCreary, with less experience, would they have still walked?
Well, I think so, because that support has got to be there. And one thing, when we formed the association, we didn't have 100% support. Now they do. Everybody that's come on the staff over those 20 years is automatically a part of the association, supports it, and is there, and I don't care who was there, they would have gotten that advice.
Bruce, back in 1985, Jim Schoenfeld, who was then with the Buffalo Sabres, was involved in another incident. He threw a water bottle at then referee Terry Gregson. Do the officials remember things like this? What Don Cherry was alluding to, in other words, that you're going to pay for something that you do to an official. Does this stick around and come back to haunt a player or a coach?
There's no way. Listen, you can't be out on that ice making split-second decisions based on what happened at a game 3 or 4 days down the road. You've got to call it based on its merits. It might come down to a personality conflict between a general manager, a coach, and a referee, but he's still got a job to do. He's a professional, and let me tell you, if he went out there with that attitude, he's certainly not going to last very long.
Grudges can be held for a long time, and Don Cherry says that the Devils are going to pay and pay and pay. Do you still feel that maybe in the back of the minds of every official this incident will linger during games or even down the road during other games next year?
Oh, I don't think so. I think Don Cherry's blowing smoke and that type of thing. You hear other people saying that. You hear the coaches and general managers that do a lot of complaining in the league. They believe that, but I think it's a pipe dream. Guys have got a job to do, and they do it to the best of their ability. There's no way, there just cannot be carryovers.
One other question, Bruce, and quickly on this one. Did the National Hockey League make a farce of last night's game by allowing amateur officials to referee a very important game like that?
Well, listen, what else could they do in that circumstance? John McCauley was left holding the bag, and I guess time will tell whether it was a farce.
Okay, Bruce Hood, thank you very much. Enjoy your retirement from the National Hockey League. Thank you again for joining us.
As far as tonight's game is concerned with this situation, the officials will be at the game. It is Game 4 of the Campbell Conference Finals in Detroit. The Oilers hold a 2-1 lead. Those associated with these two teams responded to last night's controversy.
It didn't look good. Mind you, the person that officiated didn't do a bad job. But when you're accustomed to see the Van Hellemans and the Frasers and company and the Morels, there was a loss there last night. There's no question.
If the league makes a ruling, somebody has to be in control of these 21 hockey teams, and I think that John Ziegler's staff is in a position to make a ruling, and whatever they decide, whether we agree with it or disagree with it, that's not the point. You need to have somebody in a position of leadership, and I think that we as member teams have to follow their decision, and we have to honor it. And it's just not a very smart circumstance to be bringing the courts involved in something like hockey.